Ladies and gentlemen, was it May 31st? May the end of May. Team No
Yes, sir.
Sleep. Huh? Come on.
Yes, sir. End of May. Gotta give him a big shout out. Happy birthday to my loving brother Tim Wadholm. He's resting up in heaven. He lost his battle with cancer a while ago, but today's his birthday. I always want to
Okay.
honor him.
Love that.
Dedicate the show to him. So my arguments are all for him, man. I'm
I
rolling with
love
him
it.
on
Okay.
this
That's
one.
ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And
Yeah.
I got a little I knew that. And I would just say this that I got something that I didn't show you when we were doing the article review earlier this afternoon, but I got a little something for you later on. I'm have you talk about it. So,
Okay. That'll work.
I'm
That'll
always
work.
coming with something, man. I'm always coming with something. Seeing you in the building, we can start officially. Listen, I've been on these internet streets all day today, but we always come in with Team No Sleep, social impact of sport. Um, no basketball tonight. We're gonna talk a little bit of stuff about basketball little bit later
Hmm.
because I think there's some and that's going to be in the good news section of the
Okay.
show because we always trying to end and have some good things to share with the community. So let's go into baseball a little bit, man. And as we were talking about this a little bit earlier, it was interesting to hear some of the external conversations and some of the external things that I guess all ball players have to deal with, right? All professional
Hmm.
athletes, especially when you're dealing with a business and you're dealing with an organization. But this one again resonates with us because we've been having this conversation for a while. We've been
Yeah.
having at least this type of conversation for a while. So this one right here, and Clayton Kershaw. Listen, everybody in baseball knows Clayton Kershaw. He's a bad man out there on the mound for the Dodgers, and he disagrees with the LA Dodgers' latest decision to honor the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at the
Hmm.
team's annual Pride Night. Who are the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence? They are a activist group that they're men who dress up like nuns, and they are men who are trying to spread a message, trying to spread a theme about the LGBTQ plus community. And what's happening, and the reason why Clayton Kershaw disagrees with the Dodgers' decision to honor them is uh, a lot of players, especially in baseball, and I've seen mostly, they will talk about their Christian faith. They will talk about their religious beliefs, and they would say that, man, there are certain things that kind of cross the line. There are certain things that we don't mess around with, right? And
Hmm.
there are certain even lifestyles or certain aspects that uh, I'm not gonna wear my Pride jersey on Pride Appreciation on Pride Night, right? And they're
Yeah.
really rooted in family. They are really rooted, especially a lot of the overseas players, right? We were talking about a lot of
Yep.
the Latin players and things of that nature.
Mhm.
But again, now you got uh, white man Clayton Kershaw, right? A plus pitcher, the man who has won games, the man who's won World Series, things of that nature. Now he's speaking out about his feeling about this. Let me just bring up the story a little bit, and then Montel, you go into your thoughts on how do you agree, disagree with Kershaw and his decision, or do you agree or disagree with the Dodgers to continue to honor the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at their annual Pride Night event?
Okay.
Yeah,
You want to
I
comment
know.
on it now?
I just threw it out there on you, right? I just.
Yeah, yeah. You want me to comment? I mean, do you want to comment on it? Or do you want to dig deeper? You want me to comment on it now?
I want to get your perspective, and then while you're talking, I'm a
Okay.
big in the screen here so folks can understand what it is where we're coming from with this conversation.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a different kind of battle, right? We're battling, LGBTQ and the way this group kind of portrays itself as kind of transgender nuns, basically what it is. And then you're fighting against offensive to some people's religion, especially when it comes to Native Hispanics and Hispanics coming from over like from Mexico and all these other foreign countries, Dominican Republic. They're really heavy into being Catholic, which where nuns and priests are very prominent in. It's kind of disgraceful, I think, in their eyes when you have transgenders dressed like that into that symbolism of God, and now you're crossing the you kind of getting a battle, a morality battle, right? My moral
Mm,
beliefs are not into not I don't believe in either homosexuality. I don't believe in transgenderism or whatnot. but then my religion, right? Do I go with my religion or do I believe in my belief? So I think it's messy right now. I think it's very messy. My situation with the Dodgers, I think you got to somehow look at your audience and your community. The Dodgers have a large Hispanic Latino audience. Large. I mean, probably bigger than almost anyone in Major League Baseball. And they're very loyal fans to that organization. So I don't think they want to do anything to offend them. I don't disagree with them honoring LGBTQ and the things they want to do, but you have to be careful because you don't want to offend your audience. Whether your audience is right or wrong, your audience pays your bills. They're the ones that come to the games and buy the hot dogs and buy the beers and sit there for the 7 inning, 8 inning, 9 innings to enjoy the game. You have to be able to make sure you don't be offensive to them. And I think for some of their crowd and some of their players, that this particular group is offensive to them. So you have to kind of walk that fine line. I don't know, and I don't quite know the answer. I know living in Southern California, I know that they initially invited them, then they disinvited them, and then they got some backlash from disinviting from the LGBT community, and then they re-invited them again, and now Dodgers are getting backlash not only from religious organizations, but also now Kershaw speaking up for himself, saying he doesn't agree with it. I mean, it's just messy, man. I mean,
that's the best word for it. It's just messy, right?
Yeah, I think there's no right answer, right? You cut them off and don't have them, you're gonna get a backlash from the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
If you have them, you're gonna get a backlash from religious community. So, and then you got to please your team. You got to try to please your team and try to please your audience, right? Your crowd, your fans.
Yeah,
they're in the best situation. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my thing is, and I don't know if it was just me being naive, I didn't realize that there was so much attention paid to external forces, external situations besides the game, right? Let's train, let's exercise, let's run the bases, let's work on our hitting. But right, Christian Awareness Month, Pride Day, this, that, and what is it? Breast cancer awareness. I always, again, I never put two and two together and said,
But that's that's a marketing ploy, right? That's just a marketing ploy to draw. I mean, but this one they got to draw. They did it with the draw, but I think it backfired. As far as now, you're catching all this stuff coming.
All the see. I think the heat is mainly. It's probably not even around the LGBTQ plus community. It's mainly around this group, the Sisters, who, as it says here, is a group of mainly men who dress as nuns, a charity and protest performance group founded in the late 70s in San Francisco. The group denied it was anti-Catholic. On its website, the group said it uses humor and irreverent wit to expose the forces of bigotry, complacency, and guilt that chain the human spirit. Okay, that's one heck of a mission statement, right? But again, it's just messy, and I don't know. Some folks are saying here, and I kind of agree with them, right? It's just not going to win. It's so messy, and just don't know if you can ever please. Can you please everybody?
No.
Hey, can you have a day or a game or a week for every affected group?
Yeah,
and here we are, two black guys talking about affected groups. We got the month of February, we got 28 days, we want more, but that's a whole other conversation.
No, but we're getting, this is a battle between religion and people's personal preference, right?
Yeah,
or your sexuality. This is a battle between that on the outside entities, right? The outside entities, like you have this group, and their cause is great, man. To be honest with you, their cause is actually wonderful. What they're trying to do to bring awareness to LGBTQ, they do it in a humor way. They're doing it in a good way. But looking on the outside in, you can see where it's offensive. That's like if we had a bunch of white guys saying, "Hey, we want to be Black Lives Matter, so we're gonna paint ourselves black and be like Sambo and dance around." Maybe funny, but that doesn't support the black cause because we will be offended by it. So in the same way, I can see why the church will be offended by transgenders dressing like nuns. So you kind of got to understand with both ways. And I understand they just want to try to put awareness out in their own unique way. I get it. But the Dodgers put themselves in a predicament. Yeah. Unfortunately. Now
probably with no harm or foul intended, right? Probably with all
Yes.
the right intentions, but again, so like I got, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but some athletes have objected to Pride Night in recent years. Last season,
Hmm.
5 pitchers with the Tampa Bay Rays again cited their Christian faith in refusing to wear the Pride jerseys. Kevin is saying, yeah, it's a marketing thing. It's you got to get fans in the seats, and you're trying to
Hmm.
appease, and baseball is kind of dying. And we got pitch clocks, we got all kind of different things to try to make the game faster, more exciting. Now we're trying to bring in everybody and appease everyone. Man, it's messy, man. It's
Well,
messy.
you got, like I said, I think someone put things today on the group with the Hispanic community. You have to. That's their fan base. If you're the
Yeah,
Dodgers, you have to
you have
appease
to.
to them.
Yeah,
You have to. So you can't bring it and act that's offensive to half of them. If they feel that way, you can't do it. That would damage your brand, and that would damage your fan base and those people coming to the game. I think, but this is something unique because now we have religious groups battling, an LGBTQ group, both powerhouses when it comes to outside and making influence happen on culture. Right? Religion has always been that
that's a
way.
good point.
LGBTQ is
That's a
now
good
here.
point. Yeah,
Now this is a situation where they're butting heads and going against each other, and the Dodgers just happen to be in the middle of it, right? They happen to be in the middle of it. I don't know what the right or wrong answer is, but I know the Dodgers are going to have to make a decision. You can't just say, "Hey, we'll give LGBT this day and give Christianity or religion this day."
yeah.
That's not the answer because you're always going to have this situation. And now that you have players willing to speak up about it and talk about it now that causes a disruption in the clubhouse, right? That causes another distraction within
Mm-hmm.
the organization. And the bottom line, the only thing I want them concentrating on is winning games. If I'm an owner, that's
That's
it. I
it.
don't know what them. They shouldn't be concentrating on anything else except winning games. That's why I pay them $25 million a year. I don't pay them to really have an opinion. Even though they're entitled to it, I pay them to win games. So, with that being said, they got themselves in a predicament. Not all Catholics feel the strategy against
That's strongly against the
strongly against
LGBTQ community.
and I agree. I don't think all of them, but you do have some.
Mm-hmm.
We you can ignore you. We can always say, oh, but there's some that don't. They agree with it. They're fine. They're okay with it. But you got to also appease to the ones that don't agree with it. You're in a situation in the business of entertaining, right? And the only way you can entertain successfully if you have fans. With having those fans, you cannot displease your fans. That's like sending Public Enemy to a KKK rally to perform.
Go ahead,
You
make it plain
cannot do
for them.
it.
Make it
Yeah,
plain.
you can't. You won't be able to. It won't work. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to have a better understanding. I think of your audience and everything. And I didn't mean to isolate Hispanic, but I just know a lot of Hispanics have a really very very strong Catholic belief. And I know that's that's primarily where nuns and priests and all those reside in the Catholic faith. And I know a lot of them they feel that could be offensive,
Yeah.
in any kind of way. So you got to
And
respect
and
that
some
as
and a
well.
handful of them are speaking out about that, right?
Yeah,
So again,
yeah.
that's kind of where that is. Shirley was asking, are the Angels doing the same? I assume so, and I would that a
I
lot
haven't
of
heard.
teams are doing recognition days, right? Because I
Yeah, yeah.
start thinking about at the AAA level, right, at the River Cats, who is the farm team for the Giants, and they're right here, and I've been to a ton of games, and again, didn't read behind the napkin to think that these different types of appreciation and awareness days maybe had another side of that coin, right? Where maybe the players didn't want to wear that jersey, maybe didn't want to go through whatever was the marketing aspect. They just want to go out there and play. I, I don't
I have
know,
a
man.
question for you. I
Yeah,
have a question for you. Where do we draw the line between hate and respect? What I mean by this, hate, right? We can say if people don't agree with it, they hate LGBT, they're hating on LGBT, or they're disagreeing and they're perpetuating the hate against people in the LGBTQ community, or the LGBT community is not respecting the religious aspect of the people and find that offensive. So where do we draw the line between hate and respect? And that's a question for our audience.
yeah,
I don't know. I
yeah.
don't
That's a
know
good
because
one.
that's a fine line, and people could teeter either way. Correct. So I'm saying, especially if you're in the Dodgers' shoes, where do you draw the line between that? Because think about this. If someone says the Dodgers say, no, we're going to cancel, we're not going to bring them on. Oh, you're hating on, you're perpetuating the hate of the LGBTQ community, right? Because you're not allowing them to come on there and do their thing. On the other hand, you can say, okay, you know what? We're going to bring them. You're offending, you could possibly be offending and not respecting someone else's beliefs and religion.
That's truth. Ooh,
So where's that line at? Where's that line? So I think we got to ask us. I think they got to ask themselves that as an organization, and then we have to ask ourselves that as individuals. Like, where do we draw the line between hate and respect of another person, or a person's ideology and beliefs?
So that's one part of it, and then I also would wonder if employees of the organization, players on the Dodgers or whatever club, are they obligated to recognize? We see in the story that some players are saying they're not going to wear the jersey, but again, and do we fault them? I'm not saying yay, nay, either way. Or I'm not on anyone's side right now. I'm just really being the Doubting Thomas having the conversation. Do we fault them for using their platforms as celebrities, as folks who have followings and things like that, to say how they feel? Do we fault them for not towing the corporate row or the corporate line and doing just what the Dodgers say do? Going out there, play the game, wear the jersey, support the cause, or are you more than just an athlete?
Yeah, I mean, I think athletes should have their opinion, right? Because at the bottom line, they're humans and they're citizens of the United States, so they should have their opinion. And I think using that platform to use their opinion is fine. I don't think just because you don't use your opinion to support doesn't mean you're necessarily a bad person, right? You just have a disagreement and you don't agree with that ideology. There's nothing wrong. That's what makes us all different and makes us all people. Just because he doesn't agree with that cause or what or what at least that group is presenting for that cause, that doesn't make Kershaw a bad person. He's stated his opinion. That doesn't mean he hates gay. That doesn't mean he hates the LGBT community. He doesn't like what that's doing as far as that group is particularly. He feels it's offensive for him and he doesn't want to support it. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. I'm sure there's probably some people that are in the LGBT that don't like baseball and don't like Hershiser. It's the same way. But there's nothing wrong with voicing your opinion and saying, hey, you know what, I don't agree with it, and I don't agree with them bringing that group in here. I don't agree with celebrating that cause. Let's remember not too long ago, 15 years ago, 25 years ago, people didn't want Martin Luther King to be a holiday. Matter of fact, Arizona was still fighting.
Yeah.
So that cause that we know is an honorable person that did think, people were fighting and having that as a national holiday just because they had a different opinion. They didn't want to honor that person. Okay, did we crucify all those people that didn't want to honor him? No, he doesn't want this group to be there. He doesn't feel this group should be there. He doesn't want to celebrate it a minute. I don't feel there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just that's his personal feeling.
Yeah, and I agree. And again, I'm just asking that question just for everyone listening and watching to spark the conversation. And I got on the screen right now, quote says that it has nothing to do with the LGBTQ community or pride or anything like that, said Kershaw, who held a players only meeting in the clubhouse before Monday's game. This is simply a group that was making fun of a religion that I don't agree with. So he's stating clearly what he was saying right there. And I want to put this comment up by Kevin. Kevin saying the LGBTQ community would say religion is a choice. Sexuality is not. I was born this way. Love that distinction, man. Appreciate you for bringing that perspective as well. So folks don't, again.
I agree. I agree with Kevin, but I also disagree because you can also choose to go against that. It's always a choice. Everything in this world is a choice. Now, just because you feel that way inside and you do those things, I'm not disagreeing with the way they feel. But at the end of the day, you have a choice. You have a choice to react to it or action on it or not action on it, right? No matter what. I have action. I can feel like anything I want to be. I feel like I want to be white. I'm white. I'm identifying as a white person. I can feel that way all I want, but I may not ever react. I may not ever act on it because it's a choice whether I want to do it or not. That's what I mean by choice. Now, the way you personally feel and the way what's your story and what's your truth, that's completely different. But no matter what it is, you have a choice in everything you do. Everything. So, religion is a choice just as well as your sexuality, just as well as what you want to identify with. It is all a choice. Now, you have to live with that choice to make sure that's your truth, to make you feel comfortable in your skin. That's it.
Mic drop. Listen, we
Yeah,
coming,
no,
we
no.
coming.
I mean,
No, I'm just saying, we
and if
coming
we have any,
hard, boy. Listen,
if we
y'all
have any
thought this
fans
was
in
gonna
there,
be an
and
easy show,
we have
didn't
any
you?
fans out there, any fans out there that I'm being offensive, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just speaking from my perspective and my truth, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just, I'm trying to look at it from both lenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do, and then from that both lenses, I'm giving my personal perspective from it. So, don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, no, and I hear you saying that piece right there as well. But again, I think we've built the community up enough, and folks are cognizant that we're spurring the conversation and wanting to have that awkward conversation. So no, it's all due respect on all sides. But the problem with a lot of media outlets is that they don't get into some of this, antsy conversation, and we're doing it. And sometimes we're gonna laugh, sometimes we're gonna smile, sometimes we're gonna cry, and we're gonna yell. But at least we talking about it, right? At least we getting into it. What I'm saying, like Shirley said, we preaching here on Wednesday. We're gonna take up the collection. Y'all can send all ye tithes and offerings, and put
I
them
don't want to be the preacher. I just want to be the person that gives a little bit of perspective, man, just from a different lens, right? Because everybody lives their own world and going their own way. Let's just give a little bit of different perspective from other people's lenses, just so we can better understand each other, so we can grow from it.
That's
I mean, and before we move to next story, I'm hoping in that instance, whatever the Dodgers do, that whole organization does, I hope they figure out a way to grow from it and appease everyone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, try to appease everybody. But I want to definitely say that group, I forgot the name of it, whatever that group is, man, their cause is pretty powerful. I know that. I read a little bit about their cause, and I've seen it on the news. What they're trying to do is very, very powerful and trying to very, very bring a lot of awareness to LGBTQ. And I know they're doing mental health. People that are they're in that phase of transition phase of being transgender. They have a lot of they do everything, help them financial counseling and all those things to help those people out during these times. So I don't want to knock their cause at all. I think they have a wonderful cause, but I do believe the way they bring it out is a little shocking to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And
it's kind of shockworthy.
Yeah. I will put links to all this, like as I always do in the description, to all these shows, all these stories. But Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence is the name of that group.
Yeah.
So Kevin said, I think the people of that community would say there is no choice. That's who they are, and not acting on what they are would not be honest. Interesting perspective.
I mean, you say tomato, I say tomato.
Well, it was a Dan Quayle, potato. Okay.
Yeah. I believe
that's a good point.
Even though they would say that, I mean, or maybe someone would say that, I would say at the end of the day, it's still a choice.
Yeah.
It's not you're not forced into choosing your sexual identity or your personal identity. You kind of choose it that way. That's why people can come out now, because they have a choice. Back in the day, they really didn't have a choice. You were forced to say, you know what, I'm a heterosexual. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna bring that part out. I'm not gonna even though I may want to as much, they were forced, because if they were either scrutinized and sometimes even beaten or even sometimes killed for their sexual preference. Now they have a choice to be able to come out and exploit that and do the things they want to do. So I think it's a choice, Kevin. I don't want to go back where I think it's a choice, but I think you're right. I mean, they think it's their truth.
Yeah. I tell you what, Dr. Cox, let's do this, man. Let's reach and let's talk offline. Maybe we can put a panel together, right? Mm-hmm. And really get into it, right? I mean, and get down to it and just have folks from all different sides have that conversation. It may not be a Team No Sleep, but it may be something else on the channel where we have a more intimate group and we have that conversation, right? Because it's out there and it needs to be discussed. So that may be something that just pigeonholes or dovetails off of this discussion on Team No Sleep that goes into a broader discussion. So I would be willing, and I'm offering you, Mr. Cox, the ability to, let's put something together, man. And let's have that workshop. Let's have that discussion about how socially impacting these types of statements, these types of events, these types of groups affect us and how we can just all get better. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
Even that, wasn't that Kid Rock? Remember he did that, he shot up the cans of beer or whatever they had.
Yeah.
Like how, I would really like to understand, like, how did that affect? Did it affect him at all? Did they just say, Kid Rock's an old dude, he ain't relevant anymore anyway? Or was it like, that was an offensive thing to kind of go about doing, and going, really, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of, dig into the psyche and get a better understanding. Like I said, I'm always willing to learn. I don't know everything.
Yes,
I'm not
I'm definitely
familiar
not the
with that.
smartest person in any room that I'm in.
Yeah. And
I
I'm
am
definitely
definitely not that dude.
with that community. I'm definitely not knowledgeable about everything. Obviously, they got a lot going on. They got a lot of causes going on. But I would love to learn more about it and have a better understanding, so I can see it in a different way too. See it through their eyes, how they see things. So we can make
There
sure
we
we're
go.
all good.
We got homework. Everybody got homework now, man. All right. Same types of conversation, kinda. But we've been having this type of conversation for a long time. Before it was popular. Before it was on CNN and
Over
ESPN.
over a year. What, over maybe a year and some
Right,
months?
folks
Yeah.
didn't want to believe it. Folks thought we were crazy. Why James and Montel talking about all these types of things? But look, why are they worrying about trans athletes in the Olympics? Why are they talking about LGBTQ? And why are they having that discussion? No one, I'm nervous and I'm anxious about having that. Well, okay, now we over here in Alabama.
Yeah.
Right, we just left California. We messing around with Clayton Kershaw. Now we over here in Alabama, and this is from the governor. This isn't from no ball player. This isn't from Coach Saban. This is from Alabama saying they have expanded the ban on trans athletes at the college level.
Yep.
We talked about this day zero.
Mm-hmm.
Says something is going to start coming up, and again, mainly around the Olympics time, because again, that's when the whole world will start looking. Here we go right now. Alabama Governor Ivey on Tuesday signed legislation that will ban transgender women from playing on female sports teams in college, becoming the latest state to place restrictions on transgender athletes.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and this ain't the last. That's
Oh, it's not the last.
yeah, it's not the last at all. I think we've already talked about on the show. They're gonna have to figure out something, a way to give them an opportunity to compete at that level, especially if they're talented enough. But they're making a bold statement right now, saying we are not going to have them compete and have that unfair advantage at the collegiate level. And we're gonna start seeing that. I think you know what happens when it goes to college. It's gonna go to high school.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna happen in high school. So he banned it in college right now. You're gonna hear the uproars in high school, and then it's gonna start to be banned there, or they have to have some type of avenue there. And I think we're gonna start to go through a whole a whole transformation of how sports is divided. It's going to be men, women, and then I don't know what the third category is going to be. Right? It's going to be something different that helps the transgenders to be able to compete. But they're definitely not going. They're not letting them mix. It's not going to be a mixture of it at all.
This tidal wave is coming, folks, and the horns are firing right now, and it's starting. I don't know if it's necessarily starting here in Alabama, but on the conservative states, things of that nature. But this bill is part of a wave of restrictions on transgender individuals being pushed in conservative states. At least 20 states have now imposed restrictions on transgender athletes, where at the K-12 or collegiate level, or both.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just like Montel said, at the young kids, medium age kids, and the old kids. And it's that tidal wave that's happening right now. And again, it's one of those conversations you can't get away from. And if you fall into any of these communities, or if you know someone in your circle that falls into these communities and who wants to be an athlete or is an athlete, these are the restrictions now. This stuff is being written into law. And talk to us about how you feel about this, and if you're going to appeal this, you're going to protest this, you're going to try to vote people out, try to change the law or whatever. But what's a good catchphrase? I know the boat's already left the dock, or I don't know, right? The wheel is already in motion, whatever we want to say. But we've been talking about this for months on years, and here we are now where it's prime time.
And like I just stated, we talked about the LGBTQ community fighting against religion. Now they're going to be battling sports. They got two battles. They're going to have two battles going on.
Yes.
They're going to have to battle sports to try to figure out their avenue and their lane in there. And now we see with the Dodgers thing, they're battling religion. I mean,
start mixing them two together.
They got a lot to go with, and we already know, sports is a juggernaut, and we already know religion is a juggernaut. They taking out, they're David and Goliath between both of them. They trying to fight both of them.
And
all
so
they
and
got
let's
is
talk about this too, right? You think about it
yeah,
from the middle of the country. You think about it from the Texas and the Alabamas of the
yes,
world. We fair weather fans on the West Coast. Come on, right? Listen, we
yes.
not. I'm gonna say we not real fans out here. But you go to Texas, you go to Michigan, and you go to Alabama, and you
Well,
start talking about these
well,
sport,
I
especially
like what you said.
collegiate and high
Not
school
only
sports.
we fair weather friends, but we're also liberals,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
I mean, and California is very liberal. We ain't a little liberal. We're very liberal. We look at
Mm-hmm.
all sides of the angles before we decide on anything. Those states, strong, conservative, our way, no
Mm-hmm.
way. And if you're in our way, we're going to beat it out of you to become our way. You know, they're very, 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 very strong conservatives on their beliefs and don't believe in budging in for no shape, form, or fashion. You got to think. We still, we're 2023. And I'm just giving an example. We're still battling for rights for Black people in some of these states.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 2023. Mississippi still got crazy ass laws where they can still hang
Mm-hmm.
people and all this other stuff. It's still in
Mm-hmm.
effect. Just live laws. Now the transgenders are going to be battling that those same states in things they are very passionate about, which are their religion and their sports.
That's an uphill
You know,
battle. It's an uphill
yeah, that's
battle.
an uphill battle, and I honestly believe before anything happens, this is gonna have to go to Supreme. Like it's gonna go up that high for them to get some ruling on some of this stuff because I think this stuff is happening more rapid and faster than people think. And I think these deals are being done under the table without people knowing it and just getting pushed out there right away to make sure they cut it off before anything happens on to make it a law.
Mm-hmm.
So LGBTQ community is not even having a fair chance to fight, right? They don't know. We don't even know what laws happen before they happen, right? They just put them in effect.
Yeah.
I can only imagine this kind of situation right here to give them some type of equality in the sports world. It's just going to be a real uphill battle for them to get the rights they rightfully deserve in order to participate in sports.
Mm-hmm. And not trying to change the focus, but I start when I read this story, I start thinking about what's going on in Florida. Right. I start thinking about DeSantis, right, and
Mm-hmm.
his legislation about curriculum and education around ethnic studies and around African Americans, things of that
Yeah,
nature, right? And 2024 is going to be a trip, y'all. Listen, we voting in 2024 for federal government, and again, back to the sports side is when again the world is going to get together for the Olympics. This is a prominent conversation right now, 2023. And it's going to continue to bubble up, and you're going to start seeing the major news networks asking those individuals left, right, and center who are running for office your thoughts on this topic right here.
but
And
before you move on, give them an explanation what's going on in Florida in the Santos situation. Like, what are they trying to do? I mean, you
what
need
is
to give
he?
them a little background. Just saying to give them a little background what they're trying to do.
Listen, okay, let me sit up straight, man. Because what is he trying to do? What has he done? Right? He is literally
Yes.
taken out many. And educate yourself, folks. Again, we're not going to turn this into a political show, but again, this is just social impact of what's going on. DeSantis has and the legislation within Florida has ruled that many books, many manuscripts, many pieces of the American history have no place within the educational system within Florida. And a lot of those pieces have to deal with the minority impact, with the Black American impact, with slavery, with things of that nature, and teaching about one's culture, especially for Black Americans. So he's actually removed a lot of that from the curriculum. He's got his folks that are on the board of education in Florida saying, "Yep, we don't want this in our schools." The poem that was written and wrote and spoken at the inauguration, what's her name? Amanda, young Black lady
Yeah, yeah,
who
yeah.
that
African American
poem has
lady.
actually been pulled out of the educational system in Florida as well because of the fact that Florida has ruled that it has no educational value, and that
You saying it nice, man. You
I
saying it
know
so
I'm
nice.
sitting here trying not to
Bottom
elevate
line,
my
he's
voice
trying to
right now,
remove.
but
He trying to remove all African American a lot of Latin American and a Native American history out of the curriculum. He wants it to be straight Euro America and white America history only. It's not teaching us about anything. It's not teaching about the Martin Luther King's, Malcolm X, not W.D. Du Bois, not none of them. Grover Washington, none of that history, Black Panther history, none of that is going to be erased from the history books and gone. And the funny part about it is that state is made up of, I think, 63% of African American and Latino.
Amanda Gorman is the name.
So you're going to tell 63% of your population you can't learn anything about yourself and your history. That's the bottom line. What they've done. So can you imagine? That's just based on your skin color and where you're from. Can you imagine someone that has a difference between it doesn't agree with someone's sexual personality? I don't know how you're going to pass a law in anything with that if they don't agree with it. If they have enough power to remove things of history and rewrite the whole educational system in there, imagine what power they have to do to keep people out and keep them from being around. I think we're in a weird state in our country, like a weird space right now, because we have a lot. I mean, people don't want to admit it, but we have a lot of racial tension, and it may be in California we don't feel it as much as other places, but we do have we're racially divided.
Yeah, it's and you're right. I was trying to. I'm not trying to beat around the bush, but you're right. I'm trying to keep it marketing somewhat PC, but at the end of the day, just got to come straight off the dome and say it. And yeah, so here's the story, and again, I'll put it in the description and the notes as well. But there was one complaint filed in Florida stating that the poem written and recited by Amanda Gorman at the Biden swearing in was, quote, non-educational and contains indirect hate speech and shouldn't be in schools. And that one complaint, that one dissent was the reason why that is no longer part of the lexicon of the educational system in that state.
But can you imagine their social studies? Like, they don't learn about what happened to George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, Amanda Arbery. They won't. According to them, we won't know. These youth won't know anything about that. There won't be any history written about that at all. And it's funny to me. It's kind of crazy because Florida has several HBCUs.
Yeah.
I don't know how that affects the college.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to affect there. And does that affect African American studies at Florida State, University of Miami, and so on and so on? I don't know how deep where this goes or where it cuts off at. But if it does cut off of there, can you imagine that you have these situations and you're the HBCU and you can't even learn about your own history?
And it's a lot from one state. So Florida has four HBCUs, and that's a lot from one state.
Yeah.
And you're right. You at a historically Black college and university can't have the conversation about Amanda Gorman. You can't have the conversation about Floyd, about any of these social issues that have happened.
Yeah.
Negative or positive stories that have happened. But
yes.
Again, right, there's just been a slice off of all of history because of the feeling that it's non-educationally relevant. Is let me use the word. Let me not make up stuff. It was not educational and contains indirect hate speech and shouldn't be in schools. There we go. I'm using the right words there.
So my thing with that is, who's to determine that? Like, who's determining what's non-educational and what's educational? So you mean to tell me that obviously we believe her speech was very educational and very prominent in our history. I believe, just because I believe Martin Luther King's speech, I have a dream, was very. Do they determine? Hey, it's not very educational. All he is talking. He's just spewing hope. That's really. He's not talking about really anything. So we're gonna remove that. I mean, who's the determining factor if it's education or not, and who gives them the power what to remove and what to keep? That's a scary part because, if I'm not mistaken, I think his board or his people in education, I believe a majority of them are probably white. I mean, and that's an assumption. That's my assumption. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But my assumption is I think they're probably predominantly white. So you're telling me that My history of my 47% of my population in this state is more important, or I'm sorry, 37% of my population in the state is more important than the 63% population of the other people that come over.
Do the math, folks. Do the math.
You know,
Let me put this up here because this is interesting. Dot Blue Man 504, they did not teach that in a majority of the counties in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and the parishes in Louisiana. So this law is just a continuation of the suppression that is already in place.
that's dope. Whoever wrote that is nice. That's nice.
Right?
I like
man,
that.
See what I'm saying?
That's deep right there.
This team no sleep community right here. Appreciate you. Haven't seen you in the notes before, but man, welcome to the community and coming through with some fire right there. But right, I mean, that's where we are today, and all this entire conversation, folks. Yeah, it's stemming from, again, Team No Sleep is a social impact of sport conversation stemming from what's going on with the LGBTQ conversations that are happening in Los Angeles with the Dodgers and some other baseball teams and other organizations, and what Alabama is now doing with banning transgender athletes from playing on sports teams of the sex that they weren't originally born in. Relevant conversation, relevant things that need to be talked about. It's messy. It's messy, but you know what?
Yep.
Roll your sleeves up and come on over here, join the community, and have these messy conversations. Let's move on. We got a follow up on another messy, slightly story. Glen Kuiper, y'all remember Glen Kuiper? He used to work for the Oakland A's. Yeah, he used to, because they officially announced that they have let him go, that his contract has been terminated immediately. Glen Kuiper was the gentleman, right? Let me put it back to this one right here. He was the announcer for the A's for over 20 years. He went over to the Negro League Museum with some colleagues. He was excited. He got on air and said some things. He mispronounced the N in Negro. And so I'm paraphrasing his apology that he wrote Monday. so right now, no, I'm not sugarcoating nothing. Now I'm paraphrasing what my man said right here. So that's what he says. You know, he was excited. Hold on, let me. I'm gonna read it exactly. Please note, racism. When the subject of the museum visit came up in the pregame show, I was excited and eager to share what I had done and seen that day. In my excitement, I rushed through the word Negro, resulting in my very unfortunate mispronunciation. I sincerely apologize to everyone who was hurt by this. It was a terrible but honest mispronunciation, and I take full responsibility. I'm not going to play it again. We played it a couple of weeks ago. I'll put the link in into you, well, but the man said it with some bass in his voice. And right, so just that is what he is. He no longer is employed by the Oakland Athletics, and you know, such is the case. But we wanted to give a follow up on that story because we said we would while they were doing their investigation. Who knows what he's going to do now? But he'll find a position because we've forgiven folks for less. To be honest with you, in this society, so we don't have to go into it deep, but just wanted to give kind of a follow up on that story right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I'm gonna say something kind of crazy. So check this out. So it's funny, like, you know, some of our people, right? Some African Americans, they won't forgive us for saying that word, right? And it's almost like an eye for eye because we know a lot of people that are Caucasian are in that world haven't forgiven Colin Kaepernick for just kneeling for a cause, for the right cause. So it's man, we're in a funky space, man, as a culture, as a community, as a country right now.
What's wrong with everybody, man?
We just, we're just in a.
Rodney King, can't we just get along? No.
Yeah, we're in a crazy. We're just in a crazy space because we're quick to judge.
Yeah.
And we're not empathetic even after we hear the story.
Wow, come on, that's huge right there. That's volumes right there. Yeah, we're not empathetic.
Like for me, I'm sorry. Like he should have known. He made a mistake, right? But you have to pay the consequences for some of your mistakes. Everyone does. Yeah. I don't know if he's racist or not, but I know if he had to do it all over again, he wouldn't have said that, right? He wouldn't have. put so much bass on his voice, as you would say,
yeah.
and put that I in that word real hard to state it. I think he wouldn't have. And in another sense, I think Colin Kaepernick would have took that knee no matter what.
Yeah.
He would have took that knee, or he would have did something to make sure he brought awareness to that situation no matter what. But again, there's consequences to everything. I'm sorry he lost his job, but that's the consequence of when you say something like that on the air. And he's not. Jimmy the Greek did it a long time ago. He got fired.
Oh, Jimmy the Greek. Good.
It's not like this is new, right, in that profession, right? If you're in that profession and you say something very out of content, especially when it becomes race related, typically you get fired.
Lord,
it is what
Jimmy
it
the
is.
Greek. Now, Jimmy the Greek, he was he meant what he said.
I truly think he meant that word. That was the first time he used that word. Put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. See. Yeah. He has some bass in his voice. Just saying. We're not gonna play it again. We're not gonna give him the. We're not gonna give the airplay for it. But that is what it is. So there's the follow up on that. Let's get into some good things, man. We got all this negativity, but we gonna end this week.
What's the comments in there? Ain't nobody commenting today. They quiet today.
See, we everybody is in shock. I don't know. There's no game on. I see, right. There's no basketball on. We're gonna talk basketball, and there's no hockey on. Maybe they're watching baseball. Who playing right now? I don't know. I know nobody watching them Padres because ain't nobody watching them Padres.
That's all right. We'll take that jab right now. And I forgot Sacramento's team is who?
Okay.
Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah.
See, there we go. See, now you just being rude. That don't see. Okay, touche, brother. Touche. Touche. Oh my God. I'm looking, and it's kind of a low week too, and just in terms of big breaking news that's happening right now. Not a lot is happening, but let's go back to basketball. Around the NBA Finals, we got the Heat. They were finally able to knock off them Celtics. And listen, if Boston had won and came from an 0-3 deficit, I would, if I had any Heat gear, I was gonna burn it because you just don't let nobody come and beat you like that. I am a Tatum fan. I've always been a Jason Tatum fan. That's a bad dude right there. Look, he hurt his foot first play of the game, but he's always come. He don't choke as much as some of the other players, but he's exciting to watch. I do like when Tatum is on one, he's on one, right? Okay, I'm getting no sympathy, no empathy, all the empathies, all the thieves. I'm not getting them from Allen.
You know what, man? He can say what he wants. He can say, but if your ankle was that hurt and you didn't want to give it a try, that you thought you could be effective, the moment you knew you was ineffective, get out the game. Because somebody else could.
Ain't nobody. You know better than that. You the superstar, not just the star.
No. Because we'll go patient tell. LeBron James.
Yeah.
LeBron James hurt his ankle. He went out the game. When he couldn't try to come back in the playoffs, he sat out. They lost. Yeah, they lost, but he sets out. Jason Tatum's going to now use the excuse. You played the whole entire game. I gave it a go. I was out of it as soon as I twisted my ankle. Then why are you even in the game? Why are you hurting us in the game?
So he's more of a liability from your side. Okay.
So you're giving us a pre-existing why you're not showing up. Why you didn't play good. Oh, it was my ankle. That was his excuse. We knew that was the excuse in the fourth quarter when he knew they lose. Hey, I hurt my ankle, so that's why I wasn't playing good. Bottom line, they got beat. They got beat bad. And we know twisted ankles and all that are part of the game. We saw LeBron tape it up and go. And matter of fact, in that game, Jimmy twisted his ankle as well in the third quarter. He came back. He still played.
Okay, you making decent points. I'm gonna give you kudos on that. Yeah, you making points.
And don't get me wrong. I know severity strength for some are worse than others.
Yeah.
But when you have the really bad ones that you can't play, you're not gonna be able to even go another 3-4 quarters and keep playing. This dude went through the whole 4 quarters, didn't do another thing as far as effectively to help his team, and now we're supposed to feel sorry because he hurt his ankle. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, you put yourself in that situation to play in this game to try to get your team to win. Now, if they would have won, they would have been talking about what a valiant effort he made. He even did it on a twisted ankle. He came through and did all. So if you're gonna take that side when it does happen, when they win, you're gonna celebrate him like he's some kind of great player. then when he doesn't show up, let's talk about his behind then.
God, Joe,
He didn't show up. We choked.
Look at you, boy. You got no love for nobody. No
Hey,
excuse.
but the crazy part about it, I was like, I thought Boston was going to win it. I was like, man, Boston going to be playing against Denver in the finals. But Jimmy Buckets again comes through. I'm not putting anything past Jimmy Buckets no more. My mind's telling me Denver is going to win, right? My mind's like Denver's going to win. They got all the talent. My heart,
man,
I want Miami to win.
My mind's telling me no.
Hey, I want Miami to win. Miami.
What?
Hey, Jimmy Buckets.
I was going to ask you your pick. That's your pick? You going?
Miami's my pick. Look,
wow.
Jimmy didn't. He didn't defeat it. Giannis, Embiid, and Tatum. He didn't beat down the 3 giants. He got one more to go with Jokic. And if we remember what happened last year, we remember when Miami and Denver got in that almost that fisticuffs when Jokic hit Morris from behind when he ran from behind.
Yeah, remember that.
And Butler was like, "Come on, I'm gonna see you again." All right, well, we're gonna see again right now. We're gonna see who really got the heart to bear playing. And I mean, Miami don't seem like they got the squad, but I thought they had the squad the first round.
That's true. That's the problem, right? Because I only see 1.5 people on Miami right now. I only see Jimmy Buckets, and I see half of a Kyle Lowry. I see because Kyle Lowry he been eating well down there in Miami. You know, he left Toronto and now he's eating well. And Kevin Love is on his last on the back nine, right? He on the back nine of his career, but Denver got these weapons, and I'm just seeing how they.
But we've been saying that about every team he faced. Every team he's facing in the playoffs, be like, man, they're going against Giannis and them. They can't beat him. Okay, they beat them. Man, they're going against Philly. They got Embiid, Harden, Tobias,
I don't Harden ain't nobody. No, don't even say Embiid. Yeah, Harden.
Okay, they beat the
beard
MVP.
is weighing him down. That beard is weighing him down.
They beat the MVP. Then they go down to Boston. Tatum, Brown. They beat them.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's gonna be good.
Jimmy's in the championship, and Jimmy looked like that award ceremony. He was like, I don't even give a damn about this.
Hey, you see that? Hey, Jimmy. Hey, so Bam was trying to hand him the little trophy, right? You know, hey, bro, we just won the Eastern Conference Champions Finals.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't want that trophy. I'll hold the next one. Right?
Yeah. Hold to the next
that
one.
Man, he hasn't won yet, right? He's hungry. He tried to get it.
Him and Jokic hasn't won one. I think the bigger question is, and this is the question I wanted to ask, and people alluded around it, but like, whichever one wins it, if Denver wins it, is Jokic now solidified as a bona fide Hall of Fame superstar? And if Jimmy wins it, is he solidified as a bona fide superstar in the NBA? Is he one of the elite now? Because right now, this question is about both of them.
Yeah.
Even though Jokic has done all these things, he's soft, he hasn't won it, blah, blah, blah. Jimmy always been in that team that just can't get it done because it's always him.
Yeah.
If either one of them win it, are their superstars solidified as being one of the top dogs now?
I think Jimmy's already there, right? I mean,
no, I think it's the other way around. I think Jokic is already there. With 2 MVPs, Jokic is already there.
I actually, and this is in all due respect, I put Jimmy in the same class as Barkley, right? Just in terms of, again, they haven't got it yet. I think Jimmy's going to get one before he retires, but we still respect him. We don't like Charles talking all the time, but I think Jimmy Buckets Butler, man, is a bad man, and folks recognize that. Yeah, he's been in the game for a long time, but he don't talk about him the wrong way if you want to. And look at him the wrong way if you want to, and let him grow the dreads back one more again. Let him come back with them dreads one more again. It's gonna be on for you. It's gonna be bad for you. So I think Jimmy has got more respect than the Joker, because I can't understand the Joker's game. Right? He just makes some crazy Joker clown shots, and they all seem to go in. But he's just a freak who can, 7+ feet, who can run the entire court, run the point. He can do everything offensively and defense. He's just a wild cat. Great player, obviously. But I still look at from a exciting to watch player. I'm more of a Jimmy fan than I am a Nikola fan, just because, man,
fan wise, I agree with you, but I'm saying you got to look at the body of work. 2-time MVP over there.
Yeah.
You know, he's organic. I mean, and I like what Denver and Denver. The one thing I like about Denver and Miami, these teams are both organically grown, right? They've been growing these teams for the last 3 years to get. It hasn't been a super team they put together, and now they're all of a sudden in the championship. These have been teams that have grown together to be able to get there. Me personally, I love Jimmy's game. I like Jimmy, but I can't ignore what the Joker's been able to do. And Jamal Murray coming off that injury, what he's been able to do in the playoffs.
Jamal Murray, yeah, he a beast, boy. Yeah, that man is.
They're doing their thing. But this one I'm gonna go with the underdog, bro. I'm going.
All right, let it be written, let it be said right now. We done put our picks in the 31st at 7:30. Montel says he's going with the Heat. I'm going with Denver. Regardless, folks, y'all gonna win. So shouts out to Chipotle. So every 3-pointer during the finals, Chipotle is going to be giving away food. If you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter because they're going to be sending out updates through their Chipotle tweets handle. And the first 300 fans to text designated code back to their number will receive free food. Chipotle says it will give away up to 10,500 free entrees per game. Bruh, I'm finna have me my sofritas bowl. I'm finna have my carne asada. I'm gonna win, right?
I'll say, hey, everybody go get their free food. Go grab.
Bruh,
follow
listen,
Twitter, follow Chipotle and get your food.
Get your free food and follow Twitter, and you know every time a 3 gets made, they're gonna send out a tweet and get your food. There you go. So long-winded, long answer short, we gave you our picks, talked about the finals, but at the end of the day, it's all about this right here. And Dr. Stone knows carnitas for the win. Come on. Right. I'm trying to watch the figure too, so I'm gonna get the bowl without the bread. Right? Because I don't want a whole bunch of bread. So I'm just gonna get the kind of animal style.
You're gonna go with the rice.
That's what I'm gonna do. Brown rice. We do brown rice now,
I got a question for our fans and our people that follow our followers. And we know graduation is happening. Congratulations to all the people that just graduated from high school or graduated from high school this week and graduated from college. Congratulations on you guys' achievement and accomplishments. Much so. Mm-hmm. My question is for the parents or the relatives or the friends of people that their kid has graduated from high school. And my question is, why is this generation so afraid to go away to school? It's been, I mean,
the parent or the kid?
Both. I want to know why we're having such a fall off from kids being so afraid to go away to school. Because this is transcending from the portal, right? We have the portal. We know this with sports. Most kids are coming back in to come back home or they're transferring back home after doing 1 or 2 years. Yeah. They either homesick or so I'm wondering, what is the fear factor of leaving, going away to school and, being successful and finishing school and then coming back? Somewhere there's a break there. And I'm very prevalent in the high school world, so I know a little bit more about the average, more about it than the average bear. But I've been asking this question to a lot of people, even administrators. I asked my wife, I asked my sister-in-law, I've asked all these people, and I've even asked my daughter, like, what would make you, why are kids so afraid to go away to school nowadays? And minus cost, I don't want to hear about cost because cost is an issue no matter what. Okay. Outside of cost, and if it's affordable, why are kids still so afraid to go away to school? And I'm talking about even just afraid to go to the next town. Some kids don't even want to go up Northern California from Southern California. They don't want to leave to go to school. And I'm wondering what is causing, what's the problem? Why is that such a strong fear to leave home nowadays?
That's an interesting question, man. I mean, and I mean, it could go a whole bunch of different ways, and this is just off the dome here, and obviously everyone in the comments chime in. Fear from issues that are happening around society and being away from your nucleus, being away from that comfort of home, right? Being close to mom, dad, sister, brother, and things of that nature. Is it just social media society where, and I'm gonna say it.
Why'd you get that smirk on your face, man? Why'd you get that smirk? I saw
Now,
that little sprinkle. Y'all know
I
what
need to
that
get
meant, but
off
go ahead.
camera, boy. I'm on. Listen, again, it's another one of those weeks where I'm here by myself. So this was coffee earlier. This is
Okay,
there's a little something. There's a little douce in there right now.
I feel you.
Is it the social media world where we done messed around and got a little soft? Where
I mean,
Right,
and I don't
meaning,
know.
and I say that, and I want to be somewhat respectful when I say that. It just folks are hesitant to get out on their own because they're too comfortable being at home, and not maybe the parents or maybe the community hasn't trained that the youth on how to be self sufficient and be independent and go out there
Mm,
and do it themselves, right? So
but,
that's another
but,
aspect that I would think.
but see, to counter that, it's funny to me because okay, at 17, 18, you're excited they just graduated. Okay, baby, stay home, stay home. A year from now, you're like, when you gonna get out and get a job?
Yeah.
When you gonna go do something with yourself? You know, you going to JC and coming home and being to be home. You know, now not only you get to be home after you here now 10 hours, 20 hours a day
Mm.
because now you only go to school half the time that you was going before. So I'm saying, where have we? And that's just counter what you were saying. I'm saying where we lost it because I remember at least our generation, we weren't afraid. Like, hey man, I'm going to school. I'm getting ready to get up out of here. I'm gone. We were preparing for ourselves to leave, and we knew, and I think we always knew we could come back. Right? We were coming back after we graduated, or we're coming back during break. And we're not missing that much, and we didn't have as much technology. We didn't have the ability to FaceTime. We didn't have the ability to call anytime we want to. We didn't have the ability to do that. But now kids have all these avenues where you still feel home even if you're away, but yet they don't want to go. And I'm wondering why. I need some answers why. What's the problem?
Yeah, I'd be interested. Those are the two things that I thought of initially, right? Just that we haven't trained up the youth effectively enough to go out there and be comfortable with going out there on their own. You say
Okay.
leave the financial piece out of it. So
I got a better question for you.
yeah.
What made your two go away? Because you got two that went away. They left home. They left the desk with no problem. So
Well, yeah.
what was different from them that they know they got friends that are still at home?
And that okay, and the reason why they chose to go to places that were different than a lot of their friends as well. We raised our kids to be pretty worldly, right? They got stamps in the passport, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've been around and they're comfortable and confident in and of themselves. So our daughter said, we told both of them, spin the globe, go wherever you want to. Don't
Mm-hmm.
don't let don't let anybody that doesn't live in this house convince you that you need to go to this particular school or this particular state or whatever the case may be. You make that decision based off of your grades and what you want to do. That's what they
Mm-hmm.
did. Jordan said she wanted to go down to Los Angeles to go to UCLA. She got accepted in every school that she applied for. So shouts
Mm-hmm.
out to her for that. I want to give her props on that. She said, you know what? I got a lot of friends going to some of these other places, but I don't know anybody going down here, and I want to go out there and do me and be me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Isaiah said too. He said, "I'm gonna go." We thought he was going to Nevada, right?
Mm-hmm.
We was all ready to take him up to UNR, but sure enough, found out I guess a handful of other folks were going there, and then he took a um, tour of OSU, Oregon State. He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Man, listen, I'm going here. I don't know anybody. I'm gonna start over." But again, it's because they already have that foundation of I'm comfortable in me. I've been to other places. I can be personable. You saw how. Listen, I'm gonna put you out on Front Street. You made the comment as well. You saw how my daughter was acting, man. So they've been around folks, and they
Mm-hmm.
and they know how to react and they know how to act. So they're real strong in and of themselves, and so that's something that me and my wife instilled in our kids early. And I just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the minority or the majority of what's going on right now. The helicopter parents out there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to pigeonhole y'all, but folks that are just in the kids' business all a single time. Every time they fall down, you're picking them up. Nah, let them stay down for a minute. Let them
Mm-hmm.
get up on themselves, and they learn from that. And I just think again, maybe we got a little too soft as a society and not letting the youth mature.
I, I agree with you. I do. I agree with you 100% on a lot of those things. I think there's that element, right? You were able to raise your kids and provide them opportunities to see other things, and so they knew, hey, if I
Yeah,
go out there, I know there's another world outside my 10-block radius, right? I know
yeah,
there's another
yeah.
world out there to go. I'm saying kids that it used to be kids in that 10-block radius were ready to go.
Yeah.
They couldn't wait to get out to go. Now they don't want to go at all. And I hear every excuse in the world, I don't want to leave my parents. I don't want to leave my friends. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I'd rather stay here and get a job. I hate to say the numbers, the numbers don't lie. Without a college education, you cannot get in the door. Period. There's any legitimate way you think you can make money at an 18 or 19-year-old is being gone. It's being taken away.
True.
Unless you can't become a hip hop star overnight no more. That doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Unless you're probably an actress or an elite athlete. Basically, education is our way. Is our one for sure fire way that we know we can get ourself in the door and be able to most likely make a living that can take care of ourselves and our family. Because it gets our foot in the door. Yeah. But we have now more and more kids not wanting to go away, and I'm having a hard time understanding why. The reason why. Like I said, I talked to a friend that was in administration. He was like, again, kids are just scared. They're mostly just scared, and then not only they're scared, their parents are scared. And when you have, especially when it comes to single parent families, they're scared. They don't want to leave them. They don't want this. And then when they do, some of the ones that do get an avenue to step out, the parents open the door wide open for them to come back and not let them, like you just said, endure a little resilience and kind of figure it out and get a little bit of more tough skin and endure. My son's in Minnesota, man. Yeah. He's in 7 foot below snow. And he's like, hey,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. I got to be
I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, I got to make it work. So I'm just kind of wondering. I just can't comprehend why kids aren't leaving. And I wonder if our fans or our audience out there could say, give me some reasons why they feel that these kids don't want to leave home. Like, why are they not? Because this is the next generation, right? This is our next core of kids is coming out. And it's only getting worse and worse. And I'm not talking about athletes. I'm just talking about students in general. They do not want to leave. And like I said, they have all the technology now. It's hard to be homesick, man. Y'all can FaceTime them. You can FaceTime your mom and dad anytime you
I was just talking about that on another stream that was on. Right. Again, we've got the technology in our hand.
Yeah.
Everyone can connect globally in half a minute and have a conversation with everybody in your family on your phone. Yeah. So, and I'm going to interject because I think I know part of maybe why you're asking that question. And again, you already kind of made a statement about it. It's because you're so tied to the youth, especially the youth getting out of their own way and taking advantage of opportunities. Let's talk about what's happening right now, especially again with your with Tim's birthday and this Charles James Education Foundation and the scholarship that you have. So talk about this, right? Because this is happening right now, literally right now, today or yesterday.
Actually, the ceremony's on the 5th on Monday. So the Monday we'll have the ceremony. Typically, so what this is I partner with Charles James Education Foundation, and I started a scholarship awards in honor of my best friend Tim Wadholm when he passed away from cancer last year. So basically, I've given a platform out of my own pocket, out of my own money, that I fund this scholarship fund through his organization to be able to give to young students and young student athletes to help them pursue their dreams going on to college, and help them, just give a little bit of financial relief, whether it be, enough for the plane ticket or books or whatever it may be to help them out. And I'm honored to be able to give my award to two students. Sierra Morris, the young lady, she's going to be going to Cal State East Bay. She's a basketball player.
Nice.
She's going to be playing hoop there. So she's one person that we're honored, that I'm personally honoring. And the other one is Marcus Macon. He's a young man that's out of Palo Verde who's just overcame a lot of adversity to have successful. And he's actually going to be attending school with my son at Southwest Minnesota State.
Nice.
So, helping them out. We have other one, Coach Carter's been awarded, and other two people are being awarded for their academic prowess and some of their athletic achievements. So Charles James has set up a really great foundation for us to honor our community and be able to give back. And instead of me reinventing the wheel and doing my own thing, I decided to partner with him and go up under his umbrella and make his umbrella that much stronger while being able to, do my own thing and be able to give out, scholarship awards in honor of my best friend.
You didn't know I was going to put that out there, did you?
Nah, I know you're going to put me out there like that, but it's all good. It's all good. It's for a good cause.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for a good cause. I mean, I'm not asking nobody to donate money because they don't have to, but if they're ever intrigued to donate money, it's a tax write-off under his foundation. It's just something, man, that's real. It's passion from my heart. Like I said, when my best friend died, man, it was really hard for me. We talked every day, damn near, and he got me involved in my career that I do now. That he got me involved in a lot of things. And we played football together. We were roommates in college, so I've known him more than half my life before he passed away. So the only way, instead of just pouring out liquor and sending flowers, man, I wanted to start a scholarship in his name and start scholarships in his name because this year I've expanded it to 2 instead of just 1.
That's
So
that's what's up.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
so, and that's the quality of the character, folks, that we dealing with right here, right? Montel didn't have to do that. He did it because he wanted to. Felt the need to do that and giving back to society, community, and to have it in honor of his best friend. That just shows reverence to that right there. So, give you these flowers, brother. I wanted to give you these flowers. I know you wasn't ready for that, but I had to throw that out there. But I figured that's the best way to end tonight with that story. And I will put the link to that foundation and to that scholarship, and so folks can get a little back history on that as well, so they can check it out for either this year and future years, man. There we go, man. We covered a lot tonight. Listen. I'm not going to the gym tonight. I'm probably just gonna sit on the floor, take a nap. Be honest with you.
Hey man, I gotta give a shout out to Bert, man. Bert always giving us some love. Bert Grossman, man.
That's a good man. Yeah,
that's my dude. That's my dude. He's always showing us love and always trying to plug us in with everybody and anybody within this circle. But I mean, I want to give a big shout out to Bert. They got a game. Good luck to the Arena Football League this week coming up. Strike Force. I'm sorry, not arena, indoor football.
Get it right now. Come on, see.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can't say my wife shouted in the background. He said, don't say arena, she said indoor. So indoor football, shout out to the Strike Force. Hopefully they get a big win against Tulsa this week, man. And if anybody wants to go, that's out there in the San Diego area, please purchase your tickets and use SDNFNL as your promo code. Get you a little discount and celebrate, man. It's actually a pretty good event, pretty fun.
Yeah,
actually, it's not what you expected. If you're looking for football, it's a little bit different what you expected, but it's very entertaining.
Yeah. Shirley was saying, back to the story we were talking about, could it be the kids are so socially awkward in the physical sense that they can't leave their base, their core base of friends? You know what? We're going to take both of these. We're going to take the one about the LGBT, and we're going to take this conversation right here as well. And we're going to expand on this. So we're going to be like crack dealers. We're going to give you just a little bit right now. I got to stop using that. Every time I think that and say that, I know I can't use that analogy no more. But we're going to set it up, and then we'll bring it home. God,
dude, before we go, that's so ironic you just said that, because I just watched the documentary on the Supreme Team. If y'all don't know who that is, that's a notorious East Coast gang that was notorious for that, for cracking it. And one of the cops said that he used that as a metaphor.
Man, y'all got to train me, man.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that one right there.
You can't take me in public, man. That's it. I'm done. You don't want me speaking no more. Montel, take us home, brother.
Oh man, please, everybody out there, say a prayer for everybody. Happy birthday to my man, big time. And all I want to say is, please get comfortable, have an uncomfortable conversation so we can all learn from each other. With that note, we out. Peace.